Khagam by Satyajit Ray, Part 2. The leaves of the bush stirred, and the next moment, through a parting in them, emerged the head of a snake. The light showed its glinting eyes and its forked tongue flicking in and out of its mouth. Deendayal had been pleading with us to go back to the jeep for some time. He now said, "Let it be, sir. You have seen it. Now let us go back." The snake's eyes were fixed on us, perhaps because of the light shining on it. I have seen many snakes, but never a king cobra at such close quarters. And I have never heard of a king cobra making no attempt to attack intruders. Suddenly the light of the torch trembled and was whisked away from the snake. What happened next was something I was not prepared for at all. Dhurjati Babu swiftly picked up a stone and hurled it with all his strength at the snake. Then he followed it in quick succession with 2 or more such missiles. I was suddenly gripped by a horrible premonition and cried out, "Why on earth did you have to do that, Dhurjati Babu?" The man shouted in triumph, panting, "That's the end of at least one vicious reptile." Deendayal was staring open-mouthed at the bush. I took the torch from Dhurjati Babu's hand and flashed it on the hole. I could see a part of the lifeless form of the snake. The leaves around were splattered with blood. I had no idea that Imli Baba and his disciple had arrived to take their place right behind us. Dhurjati Babu was the first to turn round, and then I too turned and saw the Baba standing with a staff in his hand, 12 feet behind us. He had his eyes fixed on Dhurjati Babu. It is beyond me to describe the look in them. I can only say that I have never seen such a mixture of surprise, anger and hatred in anyone's eyes. Then Baba lifted his right arm towards Dhurjati Babu. The index finger shot out towards him. I noticed for the first time that Baba's fingernails were over an inch long. Who did he remind me of? Yes, of a figure in a painting by Ravi Verma, which I had seen as a child in a framed reproduction in my uncle's house. It was the sage Durbasha cursing the hapless Shakuntala. He too had his arm raised like that, and the same look in his eyes. But Imli Baba said nothing about a curse. All he said in Hindi in his deep voice was, "One Balkishan is gone, another will come to take his place. Balkishan is deathless." Dhurjati Babu wiped his hands with his handkerchief, turned to me and said, "Let's go." Baba's disciple lifted the lifeless snake from the ground and went off, probably to arrange for its cremation. The length of the snake made me gasp. I had no idea king cobras could be that long. Imli Baba slowly made his way towards the hut. The 3 of us went back to the jeep. On the way back, Dhurjati Babu was gloomy and silent. I asked him why he had to kill the snake when it was doing him no harm. I thought he would burst out once more and fulminate against snakes and Babas. Instead, he put a question which seemed to have no bearing on the incident. "Do you know who Khagam was?" Khagam? The name seemed to ring a bell, but I couldn't remember where I had heard it. Dhurjati Babu muttered the name 2 or 3 times, then lapsed into silence. It was 6:30 when we reached the guest house. My mind went back again and again to Imli Baba glowering at Dhurjati Babu with his finger pointing at him. I didn't know why my companion had behaved in such a fashion. However, I felt that we had seen the end of the incident, so there was no point in worrying about it. Baba himself had said Balkishan was deathless. There must be other king cobras in the jungles of Bharatpur. I was sure another one would be caught soon by the disciples of the Baba. Lakshman had prepared chicken curry, dal and chapatis for dinner. A whole day's sightseeing can leave one famished, and I found I ate twice as much here as I ate at home. Dhurjati Babu, although a small man, was a hearty eater. But today he seemed to have no appetite. I asked him if he felt unwell. He made no reply. I now inquired of him, "Do you feel remorse for having killed the snake?" Dhurjati Babu was staring at the Petromax. What he said was not an answer to my question. "The snake was whistling," he said in a soft, thin voice. "The snake was whistling." I said, smiling, "Whistling or hissing?" Dhurjati Babu didn't turn away from the light. "Yes, hissing," he said. "Snakes speak when snakes hiss." "Yes, snakes speak when snakes hiss. I know this. I know this." Dhurjati Babu stopped and made some hissing noises himself. Then he broke into rhyme again, his head swaying in rhythm. "Snakes speak when snakes hiss. I know this. I know this. Snakes kill when snakes kiss. I know this. I know this." "What is this? Goat's milk?" The question was directed at the pudding in the plate before him. Lakshman missed the goat bit and answered, "Yes, sir, there is milk and there is egg." Dhurjati Babu was by nature whimsical, but his behavior today seemed excessive. Perhaps he himself realized it because he seemed to make an effort to control himself. "Been out in the sun too long these last few days," he said. "I must go easy from tomorrow." The night was noticeably chillier than usual. So instead of sitting out on the terrace, I went into the bedroom and started to pack my suitcase. I was going to catch the train next evening. I would have to change in the middle of the night at Sawai Madhopur and arrive in Jaipur at 5 in the morning. At least that was my plan, but it came to nothing. I had to send a wire to my elder brother saying that I would be arriving a day later. Why this was necessary will be clear from what I am about to say now. I shall try to describe everything as clearly and accurately as possible. I don't expect everyone to believe me, but the proof is still lying on the ground 50 yards away from the Baba's hut. I feel a cold shiver just thinking of it, so it is not surprising that I couldn't pick it up and bring it as proof of my story. Let me now set down what happened. I had just finished packing my suitcase, turned down the wick of my lantern and got into my pajamas when there was a knock on the door on the east side of the room. Dhurjati Babu's room was behind that door. As soon as I opened the door, the man said in a hoarse whisper, "Do you have some fleet or something to keep off mosquitoes?" I asked, "Where did you find mosquitoes? Aren't your windows covered with netting?" "Yes, they are." "Well then?" "Even then something is biting me." "How do you know that?" "There are marks on my skin."